Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be unboxing the Samsung Galaxy M30s. Now this is an online exclusive phone and Samsung is selling it online exclusively on Amazon.in. This phone is available in two variants. Base variant is priced at 14,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and the next variant is priced at 17,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Personally, I would suggest you to go with the base variant. That's the one we got. Now this phone is available in three colors: black, sapphire blue and pearl white, and we have the blue color with us. Now before we get started, let's have a quick look at the most highlighting features of this phone. This phone has a massive 6000 mAh battery. It also supports fast charging and comes with a fast charger inside the box. Now bigger battery is the selling point for this phone. Besides that, it also has a triple camera setup with a new 48 megapixel camera from Samsung, and it also got an AMOLED display just like the previous M30. So this phone definitely packs a lot of exciting things. So without any further delays, let's get on with the unboxing. So guys, here's the box. It looks pretty similar to the previous M30 except with the S extra on the top. We also get a quick preview of how the phone looks, which once again looks pretty similar to the previous M30. Now on the left side we have the name once again, Samsung Galaxy M30s, and on the right side we have some stickers and the seal. Now on the back we have the most highlighting features followed by the specifications, which I'll be talking about in a minute, and over here it says "Make for India." Anyway, let's just go on with the unboxing. By the way guys, I don't know why, but box quality of Samsung phones is pretty bad, especially in this price segment. Now let's open it up, and now we are done. So it has a pretty similar packaging like some of the previous Samsung A series phones, where you get the box inside the top lid. So let me just see what's in it. So here we have a SIM card ejector, and inside the box we get some documentation and no free case. Next we have the phone itself. So this is how the phone looks. I'll come back to it in a second. Next we have the fast charger. Now this is the 15-watt fast charger, so Samsung has included it inside the box, so it's pretty cool. And finally we have the USB Type-C charging cable. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. Let me just put everything aside and come back to the phone. Now this phone has a plastic wrapping and it is pretty bad. And over here we have IMEI number stickers and some safety information. Now that's gone as well. So guys, this is how the sapphire blue color looks on the back, and this is how it looks on the front. Now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the complete specifications. Physical overview. On the back, this phone has a plastic back panel with a curve to it. It's completely made of plastic and it has a two-tone finish. This is the sapphire blue color. At the top it has a camera module which is completely flush to the back. There is no camera bump whatsoever. Beside that we have the fingerprint scanner, which has a tiny bit of depth to it. Following that is the Samsung branding. Now on the front you get that massive infinity U display with a U notch. Inside that we have the front camera, and above that we have the earpiece. Below the display it's completely plain and it has kinda big chin. Now for the sides, on the right side we have the power and volume buttons. They are made of plastic and have a nice clicky feel to them, but I wish they were a little more elevated. On the left side it has just the SIM card tray housing two nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. At the top it has a secondary microphone for noise cancellation. And finally at the bottom, it has a 3.5mm audio jack followed by the Type-C charging port, primary microphone and a mono speaker grill. This phone has a thickness of 8.9mm and weighs 188 grams. And finally, even though it says 188 grams and it does have a bit of weight to it, it doesn't seem all that heavy. Weight distribution seems to be really good on this phone. Now let's look at the complete specifications. On the rear, it has a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel primary camera with Samsung's GM2 ISOCELL bright sensor. Not a Sony sensor, it's from Samsung, with f2.0 aperture and face detection autofocus. Following that is an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with f2.2 aperture and 123-degree field of view. At the end we have the 5 megapixel depth camera with f2.2 aperture. For selfies, it has a 16 megapixel camera with a Samsung sensor and f2.0 aperture. On the front, it is a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED Infinity U display with Full HD Plus resolution with 20:9 aspect ratio. It has 420 nits of brightness and wideband L1 certification as well. Under the hood, it sports a Samsung Exynos 9611 processor with Mali G72 MP3 GPU. It's an 8-core processor with 4 Cortex A73 cores and 4 Cortex A53 cores. This processor is built using the 10nm FinFET process, so it's pretty powerful and pretty power efficient as well. It also has 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 64GB of UFS 2.1 storage. Right out of the box, it will be running Samsung's One UI based on Android Pie. And finally, powering all this is a 6000 mAh battery, which is a selling point for this phone. By the way, this phone also has support for dual VoLTE and native video calling support. So guys, those were the complete specifications. Now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on. This is your default wallpaper and these are the apps that are on your home screen. And these are all the applications that come pre-installed. There isn't a lot of bloatware, but it does come with some useless applications that you can install later. Now let's check out the storage information. So out of that 4GB of RAM, we have about 1.8GB of RAM free right out of the box. And out of that 64GB of storage, we get about 49GB of space for our user apps and user data. Now let's check out the about page. This phone is running Samsung's One UI version 1.5 based on Android 9, that's Android Pie. And right out of the box, it has a good security patch, which is pretty decent. Now let's check out the camera interface. Here we go, and this is the interface for the rear camera, and by default it uses the 48MP primary camera. To switch to the wide angle camera, we have a toggle over here. Just click it and we can switch to the wide angle camera. And as you can see, it is super wide. Now this phone has a very unique feature called Super Steady Mode, and this is probably the only phone under 20,000 rupees, especially from Samsung, to have this feature. So in video recording, we can record with the primary camera, or we can also record with the wide angle camera. But once you enable this particular toggle for steady mode, your footage will be super steady. I'll show you sample footage later. Now let's check out other features. We have super slow motion, followed by slow motion video recording. Finally, we have hyperlapse. Now on the left side, we have live focus mode, which is rear camera portrait shots. And on this phone, we can also change the amount of background blur effect we want before taking a picture using this slider over here. Next, we have pro mode or manual mode. Following that is panorama. Next, we have night mode. This is a dedicated night mode to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. I'll show you sample shots for this as well later. Finally, we have food mode, which simply enhances few colors to make it look much more pleasing. Anyway, this is the interface for the front camera, and even for the front camera, you have a toggle over here. Now by default, front camera on this phone is pretty wide, so they've cropped it by default and that's the default mode. If you want, you can use the complete sensor and get a much wider selfie by just doing that. Now on the right side, we have video recording mode, that's it. And on the left side, we have live focus mode, that's for portrait selfies. Once again, we can either use the cropped sensor or we can use the complete sensor. And we can also change the amount of background blur effect we want using the slider. Now these are some sample pictures that I've taken around my home using both the front and rear cameras. Now let's test the speaker loudness.
Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah.
So guys, speaker on this phone is super loud. It was surprisingly loud and probably the loudest in the price segment. And it's gonna be great for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. Now let's check out the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up and here we go. Fingerprint scanner is pretty fast, not the fastest out there, but it is pretty fast and usable. But it is kinda hard to find out where this fingerprint exactly is. It's in a very good spot, but I'm taking a bit of a time to trace where it is, and if we use a good case with a nice cutout, it might be much more convenient. Anyway, fingerprint scanner on the whole is pretty good and pretty usable. By the way guys, there is no haptic feedback when I use the fingerprint scanner, even when I use the right fingerprint or the wrong fingerprint. Wish Samsung could include that. Anyway, now let's test face unlock feature. I've already set it up and here we go. Once again, face unlock works and it is pretty fast in good lighting conditions. Now let me turn off the lights and see. So guys, that was face unlock. In good lighting conditions, it was pretty fast. Not super fast like Oppo and Vivo phones, but still pretty fast and usable. In low lighting conditions or complete darkness, it still works, but speed depends on how bright your lock screen wallpaper is. So that's pretty good. By the way guys, this phone also has Dolby Atmos support, but only for the headset. So if you're someone who uses earphones a lot, then you can take advantage of this Dolby Atmos feature. You can enable it from the notification toggles. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the Samsung Galaxy M30s. Because of that massive battery, it does look quite thick, but in hand it doesn't feel all that thick, nor does it feel all that heavy. It has a bit of weight to it though. Now if we compare this phone with the previous iteration, that's the M30, you're getting a better processor, bigger battery most importantly, a new 48 megapixel camera and better performance. So guys, if you're looking for a phone under 15,000 rupees with a massive battery and good performance, then you can definitely consider this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description, it always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off, have a nice day.